I'll try to make it short. Because it's always been a question I've been asked and I never knew how to begin. It's always been about which came first, the chicken or the egg. Let's just go from the very point where I was launched.
Okay.
Prior to that, I did here and there as important events in my life, in my career rather. But to make it simpler, I was launched at the age of 15. That was 1980, I think, yeah. With Regal Films, with the movie Problem Child, directed by Elwood Paris. It was a time when Regal Films was infamous for their Regal babies. And she was then grooming female actresses. It was then what we call the bold wagon. But at that time, ang pinaka-bold was wearing Mother Lily's magic camisole, which was her lucky white camisole that every actress she introduced and made was had to wear that for whatever time in the movie, whatever period, whether it be for a poster or a scene, that magic camisole had to be worn. I think I was the only one who didn't get the chance to wear the camisole. But I think that broke her superstitions that it would have been a flop because I didn't wear the camisole. It turned out to be a real box office hit. But that was the first and the last hit that I did for her until my contract was renewed. When I was renewed after 3 films, I was renewed now under the tutelage of Ishmael. And that directed my career towards a different path. Otherwise, I'd be wearing bikinis and sitting on mango branches eating ice cream all my life. Yeah, so thank goodness Ishmael Bernal took me in his fold and taught me everything I knew and still do know now as an actor. And that began with my first movie. He guested me in Salawahan. Well, to do a real cameo, it's not even a guest role. Wherein, again, that was my last of the bikini era. He made me come in walking with a poodle so that at least Mother would approve, right? And I was in a bikini and with my heels and a poodle to meet, I believe, Jay Ilagan was my boyfriend in the film, as far as I remember. But hello, it was with Jay Ilagan and Rita Gomez and amazing actors. So, and of course Ishmael Bernal. So that brings the bikini outfit into a different level altogether. Hey, not to downplay Elwood, ha? Baka magtapusan si Elwood. Elwood is a different story. He always made his stars feel beautiful. Yung action niya, before action, feel beautiful. At least he taught me glamour and confidence, whereas Bernal gave me the craft. So, after which I did Salawahan, I could have forgotten about it up until I only met movie fans and cineasts recently who kept mentioning about that scene. And I said, oh yes, I really did start with Bernal with that cameo. Until after that, only after that I did my very first lead role with him, which was Girlfriend. Girlfriend, I think, was a fluke because that movie script was already bought by Mother. Was it Mother? In fact, I don't remember if it was Mother who directed, who produced it. I think it was Tagalog, Ilang.
You were the lead
for movie Girlfriend. And it was, I think, already a bought script. I believe it was meant for Nora Honor. The role was a factory worker, and my leading men were Altantay and Matlanillo. This is how I recall it, but maybe I have it all wrong. Peke might know better because that was when I first met Peke as his production designer. It was a flop in the box office, but it didn't end our collaboration. After that, I continued on with Ito Bang Ating Mga Anak, I believe.
Is that before?
Ito Bang Ating Mga Anak came before Manila by Night. I really don't know anymore which came first because all my time there was all Bernal. So Peggy would probably give you a more specific time frame. he has a better memory. He's a Virgo. I just know that that period was all Bernal for me. So I know I did Ito Ba first. In fact, I also did Bilibid Boys in between. I guessed it in Bilibid Boys. It was more the boys' film. We were girlfriends, no? So we came in as guests. Yes. I was then at the time partnered with William Martinez and Gabby, I think. Then I did, basta I was Bernal's baby, I would like to say. Because every time he had a project, I was in. And then there was Ito Bang Ating Mga Anak, which at that time, again, I'd do anything for Bernal and Becca's creation of my character, wherein I had to wear a really curly haired wig and drastically cut my hair really short in a pixie style and dye it orange. I did. And I was doing at that time other films. That was a period wherein we were doing 4 or 5 films at the same time. We were called Lagari Queens, yeah, because we could make films more than 100 a year. And we were doing it like India. That was then the golden era of film. So being in a small industry and very few actors at that time, we were doing 4 or 5 films at the same time. But the moment Bernal said, I need you to cut your hair at some point in the movie and you'll have to dye it orange. Sure, Bernie, I had no question. I did, forgetting that I had other films, that I had other continuation to do, right? But they managed to solve it. Ergo, they called me the problem child of Tinsel Town. Anyway, yeah, that was an exciting project. I think it was underrated. Again, I was the only woman among the only girl in the cast. I was one of the boys, so to speak. He made me feel I was also one of the boys. I was with Albert, William, Lloyd, Ronald Bregandal, I believe, was in it too. And who played my parents, Jaime Fabregas and Mitch Valdez, no less. So you can imagine already how he had created a certain image of my characters that were quite interesting. Then I did City After Dark. And then Pabling, and then I was part of his last movie with him. Joey calls me Chi-Chi. So whenever he sees me, he says, Chi-Chi, we had to change that script a couple of times over. You didn't want to work. What were you doing? I guess at that time in my life, I was a young teenager trying to find myself, so it was a perfect plot for the concept of the film. So it's exactly the dilemma I was going through at the same time, having been in the industry so early on in life and not actually having to have decided to do it. Napasabak lang talaga. I just couldn't tell the difference between the real and the real anymore. You know, it's like just interspersed itself.
Of course, you came from showbiz royalty.
Because of that. So it was like
natural progression.
Exactly, but because of that, I think that didn't also help. No, I mean, it did help in terms of entering into the business without lifting a finger, really. I should be grateful. People up to the young people now ask me, how do I get into the business? What do you advise? I'm the wrong person to ask. I didn't have it. I had it easy. And life to me was about performance. Since before I was a kid, before I could even walk, I think, I was taught to sing and dance and perform. I love doing it in school, so it's really part of my DNA. So what I was lacking was the common life, the ordinary life that every young growing up girl was looking for. What was ordinary? What was regular? I couldn't anymore find that. And so that's why there was that rebellion happening in that period of a very crucial time of my life when my hormones were just starting to develop at 15 and a half. At wala pa tayong dole nun, di ba? Wala pang rules about how old a menor de edad should not be allowed to be kissing on screen. Ngayon, strict na. You have to be 18 before you can even have a peck on the cheek or the lips.
And all of you became actors.
My family, my brothers, yeah. I would say it's partly their fault why I entered actually into it as well. Because they not that I'm complaining, they began ahead of me, my brothers. They were forced to good because they became fathers at a very young age. Yeah. So if you talk to them, well, my brother, of course, is my late brother. I keep forgetting that he's passed because he's here always with me. I said, if you talk to them, in fact, he would have been a wonderful person to talk to because he has so much anecdotes about his experiences, and his body of work is amazing.
I work with him in Lino Sutra.
Okay, see?
Wow.
Sometimes I joke back, who's really your favorite? Of course, because it's the flying Eigenmans. I was actually meant to wear the camisón. It so happened I didn't show up for the pictorial for the poster. How bad. Guess who was that? Alma. Alma had to take my place, so the poster's legs are not mine. Trivia! Rebelde na nga eh. And nothing. I enjoyed all those out-of-the-box, substantial characters that were not typical run-of-the-mill, tongue-in-cheek. I think the one he did first for me was Girlfriend, which was pretty much like that, and it didn't work. Although it was a very interesting character that to me was a very difficult one to play because it was something that was really not much who I am. It was far from who I am. She was earning minimum wage, walking to the factory every day. I mean, so he had to help me a lot in teaching me mannerisms that are small and not too much. I was excited. I just was always very psyched and stoked to go to the set of Bernie, especially surrounded by equally creative geniuses that I really enjoyed being with and learning from, and who showed me a lot of respect and belief, you know, for in Peke, who was part of his team. Peke knew exactly what artist needs, what artist needed. He's very sensitive in that respect to the inner goings, you know, and yeah, it's just that at that time I was still growing in terms of my own confidence, my own instinctive ability to tell a story through my character, so I just enveloped all that. I was scared. Tito Bernie, he was for me. Of course, I don't remember if I already had a preconception of him, but already his personality was very big and strict, and only until I experienced, but you know, there was some kind of affiliation that I already had with him, so a certain affinity that I felt I've known him long. Maybe also because of my parents' involvement in the business, but they were never part of my mom's career. So I don't know what it was. Wala lang, I was just ready and willing. I knew he was the best of the best in that time, between him and Lino. So it was just to me a privilege to work with him and learn from him. So I got thrown chairs. I've been screamed at. I've been thrown scripts, as he is known for. I went through those initiations, and that brought me to the edge of my seat and on my tippy toes. And I think I should credit that experience to my always wanting to work on the edge for now, until now. The moment I lose that edge work, the moment I don't have that challenge or the push to do better, I wither. I get bored, which happens to me a lot in television series.
So you trusted Bernie
Completely.
early on,
Ay, oo, completely.
at a young age.
Yes, who else will I trust? Yung mga nanay-nanayang ko yan. At saka, wala tayong school for acting, except theater. So, really, until Becca brought in later on the Actors Workshop, Eric Morris, and developed his own syllabus. And I began doing workshop with Becca, but that was much later. So Bernie was my primary mentor and teacher. Yeah. There was a time I remember, ito pang ating mga anak, I hope you'll bring in some scenes as well to splice. Scene I had with Bernardo. It was one of his infamous scenes wherein there was a raid happening in the massage parlor. And he's running and he's panicky, and we meet outside and I'm there waiting for Rio Loxin, who's supposed to be my girlfriend. And we're talking and we just have this relaxed kind of conversation. And Bernie had this amazing dialogue, and the way he did it was just so, and I only had very small vignette lines in between. And Bernie kept on focusing on Bernal. Tito Bernie, Ishmael, Bernal, kept on focusing on Bernie, Bernardo.
This is Manila by Night.
Manila by Night. So when we kept rehearsing after that, he kept focusing on him. I went to the side and I went to Becca. I said, Becca, I'm wondering how come Bernie's not directing me, because he always directs every scene on how to execute. Is there something I'm not doing right? Why is he only focused on Bernie? I need feedback. And then Becca said, well, maybe he doesn't think anything needs to be done or corrected. I then felt so good to have both of them to really, this is not to raise my bangka. I'm just saying, bangko. I'm just saying that after 4 projects prior to City After Dark, siguro nahasa ko na yung gusto makita ni Bernie. It's an honor. When he passed away, I was in America married, and my brother Michael gave me that call. And I can't forget the day. I know we're not on Oprah or in Maalala Mo Kaya, but I can't help it that he called me, and I just given birth to my daughter, my baby girl. And he had to tread very slowly. And my brothers and I never really got much in touch at the time because they were already busy with their lives. But I guess in their own knowledge, as we would hear and know about each other's careers or projects, he knew how Bernie meant to me. And yeah, he was the first person who was really a very, very big part of my life who I lost. And I was sad to have been far away. So when I got back to the Philippines, Tito Douglas, who was then at the time still alive and was my manager during that period, asked me to present the Lifetime Achievement or posthumous award to Bernie. And of course, I'm deeply honored that I didn't even have to demand or ask for it, that I was immediately asked to do it. Again, there was another recent event in the Dolphy Theater, I believe. Unfortunately, I had to be in another place for a festival, and I couldn't be there. And every time I can't be there for Tito Bernie's events, I feel very sad because shows. I'm really a drama queen. I mean, I can't help it because nobody has done so much for me like that until Becca came along and, continued on, but in a different way. But I would say that both Becca and I don't know, I shouldn't speak for Becca, but I believe we both have learned and gained so much from her. It was a true gift.
This was after you went to the States.
Thank you.
After Wating. You went to the States.
Yes, after Wating. And I disappeared for 10 years. That was one of the last. That, and then I did one for Laurice Gillian, Ang Bukas Ay Akin, and I did Moral. And I remember those were the last 2 films I did because those were the last 2 films that I was nominated for in all the award-giving bodies, competing against myself, buti na lang. That's why I was able to win. And then I left. So I left with those 2 awards. That's why I remember quite clearly that that was the period of putting the best films of my life, and I would also like to say probably almost the end of the golden era. Because when I made that movie last with Beckett before I left, I believe it was one of the last films before I left was Darna and Trece. We talked about television about to come in. He already knew at that point that TV was about to set in. So he kind of mentioned, parang he had the foresight, brace yourself. That was the time when there was no blurred lines between television actors and movie actors. You know what I mean? There were only movie actors and there were only TV actors. So, yeah. Yeah, recently I did a movie with Mac Alejandre and Ricky Lee was our scriptwriter. Ricky, I think, worked on the script of City After Dark.
There's actually a list of consultants, including Peke.
So tell me about this, so you know this.
Yeah,
please verify.
There were 6 consultants for the story, but story and screenplay is Bernal in the credits. But there was a list of people, including Rick Lee, and Peke, and George Arago.
Mel Chonglo?
No, Mel. There were 6 names, and then they were credited as
consultants.
Story consultants.
So there you go. So it is so, because when Ricky mentioned to me this recently, I had no idea. Each of them were consulted as to stories of every character. So they were able to build the characters of each, because each of them had their own plot lines, but they seem to have crossed each other, right? Somehow. And I was told by Ricky that basically, I said, let me guess who probably plotted my character. Sabi niya, Peke? Sino pa ba? Ayun, kaming dalawa ni Oji, yung nag-intersperse na characters. I mean, imagine how only Peke I know can think of this profound combination of a blind masseuse and a dyke drug pusher.
Who was madly in love
with the blind masseuse. I mean, that is so intricate combination, intricate creating. And these are the roles I miss. Nowadays, you just play the mother of such and such, right? One linear role. So anong role ko dyan? Nanay po kayo ni whatever love team is combined. Anong ibig sabihin na nanay? Nanay na sa bahay, nanay na nagtatrabaho, may mga buhay din ng mga nanay. Bigyan naman natin sila ng buhay. Nanay na na parat, let's give them something. No, it's all about nanay kayo ni. So I made a point to make sure that as a mother, I live my life as an actor, mother, / many other things. So my kids don't just think of me as just a mother. I beg to disagree.
Was it there?
You can say that I may be the first actor that lit a real joint on Philippine cinema because Lloyd and I did a smoking scene in Problem Child. And that I believe was the first time. And I was the one who pushed it. That was an added scene by Andrew. We were supposed to be running away into a whistle stop, unfinished train, and we hung out there hiding away from the cops, and me being the bad girl. Why don't you light a cigarette and influence him to smoke? I said, that's not enough to influence. How about weed? Okay, all right. So I smoked weed with him and it was real weed. Of course. And then when we smoked in the Brocka, me and William, there was that scene in the Manila Bay. And this is one of the trivial things because we are afraid of Bernie. And the script was pretty long, but I remember this quite clearly because it was like midnight and late. And the script was about William telling me the story of what happened. And all I had to do was ask questions, whereas he had to answer. So of course, no, I'm sorry, it was in reverse. He asked questions and I had to answer. So whatever question he had to ask, I just have to answer. And if he missed out on a question, then that's his problem. We asked Bernie if it's all right, because we're supposed to be smoking a joint, if we put in a little bit of real. And he said, as long as you remember your lines. So we practiced in silence, kaming dalawa ni William, and then I don't know if it was even a take, Basta before you know it, we see a script flying and landing on our laps because somehow William forgot his line. I was 17. I did whatever Bernie could tell me. And not only that, they didn't make us ahon anymore because mataas eh.
Yeah.
And we need to do scene after scene, shot after shot. So ba't kami pa-aahon? So we just stayed down there. They just threw us salvavidas. God knew how long we were there. We were just enjoying ourselves because they had lights. They threw in candles, right? So meanwhile, we're swimming there and we had no idea how long it lasted. But we got out of there when it was packed up. Beyond the HMI lights was sunrise. So I suppose we were there pretty long. And all I remember was all the buraks and the poo-poo floating around us. It was dirty. Butula sa amin nagkaroon ng sakit, di ba? But wala kaming takot noon. Those were the days of careless freedom and carefreeness. You know, wala talagang arte. Walang arte.
That was the extent of how much you trusted Bernal.
And I still probably do the same for the same reason. I'm 55 and recently I did a harness for Peke. They asked me, is it okay? And I said, ooh, I love harness. Anything for Peke, but not that I'm being arte. It's the age. Can you put a standby double in case my bones start cracking? I don't want to disappoint. I never got to use the double. I just did what I did. I wanted to do what I enjoyed it. We started at 1, we finished at 5. That's how quick it went.
It's for the new project.
Yeah, and I had no idea what I was going to be walking into. I had no idea what my look was. I didn't know what it was going to be. I knew it was going to be great. And sure enough, it was. So the moment they started putting me together, I was like, slowly getting so excited again, you know. Parang wala, no questions asked for people like Becca. You know that they've got it down pat. Yes, only because it was controversial. Because at that time, Manila by Night was changed to City After Dark. And it was chopped, sadly. And I think it was entered, right, into a festival.
Yeah, it was supposed to have been sent to France, but the government stopped it.
Sadly. So I'm not sure if they brought back, now that they brought back the title Manila by Night, if they've also brought back the cut-up scenes.
They say that the original version that was sent to France hasn't been found. What we have now is another version that's probably been edited here.
And censored.
And censored.
Well, as long as we have it. And restored, I hear. I would love to see it again.
We will show it.
Great.
We found a clear cut.
Oh, fantastic. Restored.
From Riga.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes.
I wish I had a chance to redub it. If I could. But I doubt if that can be done now.
Why?
Again, I had to do a film abroad. I had a contract and I had to leave. I don't know. I was not in the right frame. I wasn't in charge of my work days. So being managed, I was told to leave the next day. I couldn't stay on for the dubbing. So trivia, the one who dubbed for me was Luella Luansing. And I think this was one of the reasons why my points didn't have a chance at the Urian to make it as a winner. Because I wasn't the dubber.
I didn't know that.
So I was told. But I was nominated.
Yes.
That's as close I got to an Urian trophy. Up to now, I still don't have an Urian. Urian! I know, first movie. No, kasi for us actors, Urian will and has always been the most credible.
So,
but I think Famas is picking up now.
I think so.
But with Ricky Lee there.
They still have the best looking trophy.
Yeah, I have. At least. I have all now except Urian.
Were you aware that when you were doing that movie, you were actually treading into areas that the government didn't want you to go into? Is that at your age?
No, I didn't care much about what was going on. I was just having a ball. No, I wasn't aware.
But were you aware that they stopped showing it? Oh, they stopped
Yes.
the premiere.
Yes.
And held it off for
Yes. Yes, I was
several
there.
months.
So,
And how did you feel about that?
sad. I was angry. I was angry. I think that's one of the reasons why I decided to join the People Power and Kapit Bisig. You know, it didn't bother me. We would even change under... Wala kaming dressing room, di uso pants noon. Wherever you put me, I go. We would change. Being Fabregas at that time was our assistant costume wardrobe. We'd go under stairs behind whatever stinky corners and change and put fatigues and really like be part of the whole demographic and setting. And that was what I needed without much knowing that I needed it, and made me become part of the whole scenario. Yeah, it was pretty stinky. And exactly, you can smell it, right, in the scene, if I remember.
Did that help you?
Yeah. Yeah, it took me days to brush off the dirt in my nails. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Kaya ko naman yun eh. I can rough out also. Those were the days. That was pre-Ronnie Rogoff. Kasalanan ni Ronnie Rogoff. He introduced me to first class.
And brought you to New York.
Yeah. And Europe. Now, how hard to keep up. Nasanay na. Yeah, he was going through a tough time already. And I didn't dare intrude or interfere or even try to ask him, how are you, what's going on? I'm his he's my mentor. I'm his disciple. I dare not go to my guru and ask him. I didn't want to feel or know that he's going through a tough time. I knew, but I didn't want to know much more than that. I leave it to his partners in his the colleagues who knew him beyond privately to work and help him through. I needed to stay where I wanted to be and see him in the best of himself all the time. And that was in the set. That was when he already began erratically not wanting to work consistently, and he would back it up in the middle of it all, of a day's call. There was one thing I remember that humbled me and really was an honor and a validation, because I played a drug lord in a big syndicate. We're talking of millions of money and a lot of drugs. And my front was a big car shop. And our first location that was going to be where we were going to do those scenes was a very small mechanic shop. And as we arrived, I said, naman in my passing, my normal, nonchalant way of expressing, I didn't really have a different idea of this whole place. I thought it would be huge and big, like a big factory, like, top office, Maya pack up na. And I go, oh, why? We're not doing this location. Alright, and then the next time we had to shoot that scene, it was set in a big car shop with a top office and all. I go, oh wow, without saying anything. He kind of took what my inputs were and he agreed. And to me, it was like saying, I knight you. You know what I mean? You're now ready. Go and spread your wings. Had I known, I didn't know he was not well. Not well physically. I just knew he was going through a difficult time, the business. I wish I had been grown up at that time enough to be able to have the courage to have talked to him about what he was going through. But to him, I would always want to be that little alaga, little child. I was probably too afraid to see him broken. Looking back.
Which the others saw?
Which his colleagues, his colleagues of his same age group saw. Sila Beckes, they probably knew more. I was younger, and even if I had come back with a boyfriend and almost about to be married, because I knew Ronnie, I remember, was in that set of Wating. In fact, I remember one time there was this gun that was being played around, and it was a real gun, and the bullets just was, he accidentally shot the bullet and it ricocheted towards me, and he screamed so angry. He was so angry. He wanted to kick out those guys. Oh, he did kick out those cops, or whoever played those cops, whether they were real or fake, as I remember, and had those arm lights taken out, and all made sure every gun was not real. He was so angry. He threw a tantrum.
Yeah.
Imagine how stupid someone playing on the gun, whoever gave him a real gun with real bullets in there. Or was it fake? I don't know, but it seemed like it was real because it ricocheted. So that was pretty careless. Still, I couldn't have that space to say to the parents, are you okay? Are you fine? I did not.
Was there a difference in the way he was working then as compared to the early days when you were working with him?
He seemed to have had less energy. More like most of the time he was just sitting down, as I remember. But of course, the same passion of wanting to create great scenes. And he still would get himself to tell me how he wishes he'd seen. But maybe less movement, as I remember.
And it's also a very taxing movie to shoot.
Action.
Running.
Yes.
Maybe he was trying to do the bandwagon of the action.
Yeah, he talked to Ronnie a lot as I was doing rehearsals, or I was, talking to other members in other cast, and just making chica. I just know that he and Ronnie hobnobbed a lot. Mind you, Ronnie's 18 years older than me, so they're the same, genre. What am I saying? Generation.
Did Bernal take care of his actor?
Oh, definitely. Oh my gosh, yes. He would scream at me only because he believed that I could still do better. He would get angry at me because I was his anak. He wanted to see me do good. And I'm grateful for that. But he did it with love. And after that, tapos na. Next day you come to set, hi Tito Bernie. Oh, hi Iha. Talks like Rita, sometimes the same voice. How are you? Did you sleep well? Oh, you'll get ready na. Sila Tita Rita, parehong
Larger than life.
Yeah.
Were you friends off set? Were you friends?
Yes, I'd like to think. Yeah. I mean, because I'm a playful person. I like to be friends with everyone. I like to bring in a happy set. I'm jolly. I like to play. Sometimes too much na, kaya napapatutuloy ako ng upuan.
Because I know you're friends with Becky.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Well, with Becky, kasi he caught me up until now that I'm still an adult. I'm already an adult. So he's seen my journey more. He's seen me grow more. And we've shared daily tapings and rehearsals during Champuy. So that's a whole different arena.
Okay, so for
Si Becky kasi iba naman ng humor. Mas mapabiro si Becky.
He was more serious.
Oh, yung jokes niya, he would make jokes, yeah. But, yeah, of course he would make jokes. Of course, and he'd laugh big. Right? Yeah, but still, he had a temper. So, Becky does not. I haven't seen a temper of Bex. Maybe if I have, maybe once, it was never targeted at me. And if he did target it at me, it was one time in Oro Plata Mata, but he pulled me to the side. Isn't in front of everybody.
It was one of your other classic roles. It could be another interview.
Yes. Primarily, to be professional. And that means being on time. To be prepared with your lines. When you're called to the set, you better make sure you got your lines into your brain cells. I learned to be open to what other possibilities that I should go out of the box of the and outside of the text. Bernie derives a lot of physicality more than just facial. I think he gets a lot of the movements out. No? He likes the big shots also. So that's also where I learned a lot in terms of knowing my instrument, to making sure that I move according and fluidly according to the moment or to the objective of my text, and making it as organic as possible. Most of all, I learned to love acting more than ever, because I was getting really frustrated about the characters pre-Bernie. All I had to do was look beautiful and be sexy and have a gorgeous leading man and look like I can kiss well. After that, Bernie saved me, brought me to a different realm. And that began the road to a whole exciting movie career. And the rest is history. What Ding? That was, what Ding said.
National Day.
Yeah, national. Then I had to leave back to the States. Then I got married. That's when I got the news. But it was years after when he passed. I'm not sure exactly.
Not so far.
Not so far after,
yeah.
right?
Maybe 2 years after.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I seem to be more and more, I heard, a recluse. I didn't want to go out and do anything anymore.
he did a lot of commercials.
Ah, good. That's where the money is.
Yeah. He had a joke. He said he was now the Tide King because he was doing all of the Tide commercials.
Ah, okay. You see that? Up to the end, he still does the best things, and he still gets paid for it in a well-paid industry pa. At alam niya pa paano uhugutin ang sensibilities ng Pinoy at gawin niyang social. Something to that effect. He knows the Pinoy taste, yet he brings it to a level of elitism. He knows how to blend the both, If he knew us young people then, I'm sure he could capture the young people now and make films about them. Maybe in an ostracized way, maybe to make fun of them, maybe to spoof them, or to create only things about them and their struggles. For sure. What's different now anyway? Technology. But we all go through the same process of struggles, human struggles. How to create our identity, how to make the next buck, how to make our parents proud, how to do all that. It's just that it's better for them. They have better, faster access.
I think it's an interesting thing what you said, that Bernie was able to understand the young because he did this movie about
It's all about the youth.
And with all of this youth-oriented material today, I mean, I can imagine what
magic.
What he could have done, right?
Especially now that we're back into the love team mode. Diba? Oh my gosh.
And he understood that the youth is not just about love and love games.
Exactly. He'd make it so much more interesting. They have heard me speak a lot about Bernie. My ex-husband knows, of course, Bernie, and knows how fond I am of Bernie and how close he is to me. I'm not proud to say this, or maybe it's because my kids don't speak Tagalog, but they have not really seen any of my films. So I think the only film, I know it's a shocker, but maybe they'll be ready now. Maybe I waited for them to get older to really understand and be interested. Now that they're in college, maybe Bianca's fun. And when you graduate na siya, she'll be ready for Manila by night.
and I heard that she wants to be an actress.
Yes, she is an actor. only one who decided to be an actor. And I asked her, please, do you really want to be one? Oh my gosh. Not that I didn't want to prompt her, it was more my heart. I wanted to protect as a mother, right? But so she chose. I said, okay, I'm going to look at it positively. You have now just reaffirmed and validated the fact that I have to be. The question I always had asked myself, did I really want to be an actor? Did I really have a choice? Baka nasabak lang talaga ako dyan, wala akong choice. Did anyone even ask me? Now that my daughter decided to be an actor, I guess she validates that for me already. In fact, because I tried to push them away from New York para lang maiba. From Manila rather. Maybe they'll see other things like they might be interested in, like maybe law, chefing, anything, doctor. It's really finally the DNA.
What did your mom tell you when you said that you want to be an actress?
Oh, she was the one who wanted me to be an actress. When offers came, she just agreed, okay, have them sign you up. Sometimes there were auditions, like Sinta, and she would support it. She would even say, okay, Cherie, there's auditions going on, you want to audition? And I knew I was very young for it, but I still went. Yeah, she's supportive. She's a strong mama. I'm not as strong. No. I could be a worse stage mother if I choose to.
And she comes from that generation that really loved being in the movies.
My mom?
Yeah. I'd like to think of the generation.
No, in fact, it was the kind of generation that looked down on actors. And she comes from a very aristocratic background, you know. At that time, artistas were just artistas, di ba? Minamaliit yung mga artistas ng mga sosyal.
So I think that's also been one of the comments about Brocka and Bernal. They were the two directors that actually brought Philippine movies into somehow the acceptable norm already in the late 70s and 80s.
They drew in the A and B, at least the A at least, I think. Yeah, they brought it to a different level and standard of quality.
And by the way, you also two big showings.
Yes.
One of the movies of Bernal.
I wasn't able to see that. We should do a retrospective and have all of us have a chance to watch Bernie's movie. So please update me when you know.
I will organize something.
Let's do it. Let's do it. I think they did it in Centenario, but they only show a movie one time. I think it should be an ongoing retrospective so that we get a chance to choose the best dates.
That's a good idea because 2019 is also the 100th year of cinema in the Philippines.
Right? Can you imagine? I'm almost, oh my gosh, never mind, I won't say it anymore.
While you're counting the years,
yeah,
that, you're part of.
I'm more than a quarter.
Yeah.
100. So no wonder I'm getting all these interviews left and right. Oh my goodness. We just had an interview recently with TBA and NCACA producing a documentary of a 13-week episode called Habang Buhay. About people who've contributed to the industry, being that it's 100 years. So wow, 5 dekada na ako, Cherie. Malapit na.
And going strong.
Nag-iisip pa rin ako, gusto ko pa ba? But again, like you said, it's in the DNA, right? Once you give me another project that really sparks the soul, of which I will be doing next year, play. So, different medium.
Well, your whole family, all your nephews and nieces, there's no denying it.
Andy was the brave one. Packed her clothes and left to do surfing. Andy.
Yeah.
Okay na yan, she's young.
Yeah.
She doesn't have to pay yet for so many bills.
That was an interesting move.
I would do the same.
Unusual.
I would do the same. I'm planning to do the same. At least not far from Manila. I just fly whenever I'm needed. Oh, di ba?
True.
Sana I can have that place na. Soon, soon, soon. I'll just plant my vegetable garden. And write. I want to write.
But but I don't think you'll really be far away from the industry. I mean, you came back. And your daughter might be there.
Ay, no. Doon na lang siya sa New York.
Not here.
Ay, no. Mahal kaya tuition. Kita, bawiin niya doon. And besides, she can't speak Tagalog. She chose to do classical theater. So she's more into the classics. She loves Shakespeare. She loves Chekhov. So I mean, there are more platforms there, diba, for that. In fact, London. I told her to try London. Maybe. Swerte lang sila kasi.
True. The world is really
Getting
much more available.
Yeah. Wow, and to conclude, and in gist for everything that he's given and contributed, first of all, he's our national artist. Why do we remember? Because exactly that. He catapulted the films at the time that were just being looked down upon by the elitists, and found ways to bring up the standards and the quality of it to a certain level that married all classes to appreciate film. That was the golden era. For one, he studied his filmmaking in India. One of the few that really studied. And that's how he brought the same form in how we make films. And if Bollywood can do it, I don't see why we can't. Okay, I understand there are billions in their population, but they're such film lovers. And of course, the government gives them a lot of tax incentives, but they crossed already globally. Malapit na tayo. Sana. So we're relying on you, kids. Bring us there. Let us cross over. Yeah. Kaya natin yan. And it's not about only funding. It's craft.
And at the very least, they should watch the movies.
More movies, know these amazing people. Unfortunately, we cannot serve you well because the government sadly did not keep movies in their archives, so we can't blame you fully. And thank God for Cherie and for amazing professors who know these people before this generation dies, and that's why I'm part of. So glad to be invited to be, interviewed like this for documentation that hopefully will carry on till the next generations, and we get wiser now to fund, archiving. Thank God again for digital age that we can now restore these films before they all get sticky and stuck together and malumot at amag. Sad naman, diba? So, I also did not myself, I was not wise enough to keep my scripts of yesteryears, but now I'm beginning to. They're bound. So Becca has a trove of his scripts and his notes that I think he donates to the library in Bacolod.
And in LaSalle.
In LaSalle. So, yeah, I think we should all think ahead from now on for the betterment of our filmmaking education. Yes?
Any last words?
Thank you.
Bernie?
I love you, Bern. I hope you're watching me. Send forth your grace and that I continue to be shown with your gifts and your genius of creativity. That's my message to Bernie.